Welcome everyone to another episode of the FinOps Weekly podcast, and today we are here in our on-site secret location talking about AI, costs, and especially we're going to frame it a lot in GCP and how you can select the model as best as you can to your projects. And to help me with that, we have Vera Basman. Vera, how are you?
Hi, great. Thank you very much for hosting me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you, and we've been knowing each other for a while.
Yes.
We met in Barcelona and of course in Madrid in the FinOps X and now here. And it's great to have people here in Madrid being able to talk to each other. And today we are going to dive into GCP and AI. So for your experience in GCP and with AI, one of the factors is to select a good model is pricing, okay?
Yeah.
So depending on the pricing, you select one model or the other based on your case study. You don't always need the more expensive, near the cheapest one. So how relevant it is, the pricing in the model selection?
I think it is very relevant.
Okay.
Because, I think that we are currently in the beginning of the AI revolution.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously many companies want to be as much as, on top of things and implement AI models, AI agents in their products or services. So what we are seeing now a lot is just people going over everything, all the models, or testing the priciest models for all use cases and stuff like that. And it is still very hard to break down all those costs. We still see the AI spend like a black box that we really want to turn it into a white box and open it up to analyze it. And, we all hear of those stories of like a developer just prompting, just playing with one AI model. And then in the end of the month, you get like a bill of thousands of dollars. So this is where I think we came to a realization that we have to implement FinOps in AI, Yeah,
that's true, because I think we've overcome the phase of where everyone was experimenting and trying out new things, and you always wanted to try like the latest model and everything. But it was more, I think it changed when the AI availability was for everyone. So like before, and it's also a debate that I have in FinOps, is like, the cloud, for example, just to make a similarity, is available for a certain side of the company, which is IT people, and especially IT people focusing cloud.
Yeah.
But AI is available for everyone now.
That's a very good point.
And then you need to control it to everyone. So you need to apply FinOps as soon as you can, because cloud has been there for a while, but AI has been super short time, and then we are already, handling token budgets, the token maxing thing, and all the quotas thing. So it's super relevant. And following up on this, we know that in the model selection, there are other factors that you have, because you cannot always select based on price. So what do you think are other factors that condition the selection of a model?
Yeah, actually, I think that what you just pointed out, the fact that unlike cloud costs, AI, everyone in the company touches it. So this is one of the factors. So I can give you an example that in the recent months, I've been working with a big company in the health sector, and we were implementing together Vertex AI. Okay. They work mainly with Google Cloud, and we were implementing Vertex AI. And obviously, implementing AI tools, like you said, it touches all departments. If you want to be as up-to-date and as automated as possible and stuff like that, it touches all departments. So other factors beyond price, it will be, I would say, two main factors. So the first thing will be, who is my target audience per model? So for example, I have internal team developers, they will need one type of model. Or let's say R&D team would want a model that is more for reasoning, okay? So the other factor will be a use case. So the R&D team would want a model that focuses more on reasoning, and let's say more internal operational teams in our company, for example, the billing team. that needs to issue invoices. Perhaps for them, what they need is accuracy, numbers, or latency, so things won't be delayed and stuff like that. So these are two factors that we have to take into account. Who are we implementing this model or agent for, and what are they going to do with it?
Yeah, I think that's a very good set of factors, because we always thinking like, some technology terms about the tokens, consumption, the efficiency of the model, and you are phrasing it as of the needs of the people, the business.
The simple as possible. Let's not even talk about tokens, Tell me what do you need and who needs it, and this is how we'll solve the problem.
It's a very human response
exactly.
to that. I don't think AI will definitely get that response.
The most human thing in AI is this.
is to think about, who is using it and what they are using it for, right? It's all about the value that you're providing to the people and of course the business reason behind it. So okay, now we have analyzed the pricing, and we've analyzed other reasons apart from pricing that we have related to business. So we know that we have analyzed how we consider pricing into the model selection, and then the other factors that influences. And in GCP there is the tool of Vertex, and we've been doing it for a while on the ML and AI and all the AI part, since 2018, since I was playing.
Oh my God.
So can you explain to the audience now what's Vertex AI and all the content that it has?
Yes, definitely. So Vertex AI, which by the way is now called Agent Platform.
Okay.
You need to keep up.
Yeah, you need to keep up the marketing side.
It is Google Cloud's one-stop shop for AI agents and models. So in Vertex AI, you can do the whole process from choosing the model, configuring it, and deploying it to production, basically starting to use it, okay? So I think the good thing is the convenience, obviously, and later you can combine it with Gemini Enterprise and stuff like that.
Okay, so it's like the one place for people to handle all the models and all the agent platform. It's a very well named. And can you dive into more of the specifics about how you can play with Vertex AI, some of its components?
Yeah, definitely. And we started the conversation saying that price is a big factor. And it is a big factor because people are still learning how to use it and how to use it right. So I do think that there is a certain workflow that we can do just to avoid errors, just to make it smoother. And the good thing is that in Vertex AI, you have all those steps lined down.
Okay.
In the same menu, you have all the options. So the first thing that I would do is going to Model Garden. And Model Garden is a catalog that just displays me all the models that Google Cloud offers. It offers, obviously, the big names like Anthropic, OpenAI, obviously the Google in-house products of Gemini. Yeah, obviously. But also a cool thing is that there are also more task or industry-related models. So, for example, this health company that I've been working with, you could, in the Model Garden, select health under industry, in the filters. You can go to filters in the specific industry that you're in, choose health, and choose models that are way more specific for your use case. And something even cooler is that you can even drill down even more per tasks. So for example, under health, you can even have X-ray AI model, which is really cool, It's it's very curious.
It's very specific to the point, right?
Yeah, and it's amazing because AI obviously goes to many sectors, so it can be very useful. So this is Model Garden.
Okay.
And this is the first step. So we are looking there for, from the variety of the models that we have and let's say we chose a number of models, and now it's time to evaluate it. And this is the name of the page,
Okay.
the name of the section in Vertex AI. It's called evaluation. And there we are testing, this is the staging.
Okay.
This
is the staging part of
yes.
of the workload.
Exactly. So we are testing the different models. We connect our databases that we work with, different prompt engineering, stuff like that. And basically, there we need to prepare it for production later.
So you are like validating that everything works, that the outputs are correct.
Yes.
That
it answers our business needs of what we want to do with these models, obviously.
Yeah. So now that we have the model, evaluated, we have followed all the filters in Vertex AI to properly select, like, what is the criteria that we need to apply in Vertex AI to actually select the model?
So there are different FinOps best practices that we can take into account when selecting and working with different models. Let's start with the more common ones. So obviously you have like different generations of models. There is a basic assumption of like, hey, if you're working with the newest model, from one hand, it will give you better performance, but very high. But on the other hand, it will give you also very high costs. Okay, and so the first assumption is saying, well, maybe you don't need to use the priciest model.
Yeah.
This is very obvious, right?
Yeah.
But a recent study was actually testing two different models from the same, let's say, same company, two different versions. And what they wanted to see is how fast does the model solve my query. Okay. And obviously it's based on the complexity level of the query.
Of course.
So let's say complexity, let's not take like the lowest or the highest, let's take like 7 out of 10. Okay. So a little bit above average. And what they found is that you can take the cheaper model, but a cheaper model will consume you more tokens to solve a pretty complex query, and it will consume more time.
Okay.
So there are cases that actually pricier models, they can cost you less.
Are more efficient because the query is solved in less time.
And I think this is what FinOps measures, because it's not only how much does it cost? Oh, this is more expensive, I'm not going there. Wait just a second. As we said, there are different use cases. Okay, so these are the things that you need to take into account. I would say measure the ROI of your query output and the tokens. Okay, and this is how to just to take it into account when choosing a model. A few more things that you should consider when choosing a model is that first, we all know what tokens are, but not all models are priced by tokens. Yeah. So if it is like image or video generated,
or audio generation, all these that are different outputs, that is not always language, right?
Exactly. So it's different units.
Yeah.
It's measured by different units. So just take this into account. And another thing that I think is very painful, it is painful in terms of costs. It is that there is a difference between the price of the input token, going back to tokens, there is a difference between the price of the input token rate and the output token rate.
Yeah, for sure.
And usually it's like a ratio of like 1:3 or 1:5, stuff like that. Okay, so this is also something just to take into account. Check the ratio before choosing the overall model.
Yeah, definitely. And also like how your use case will be in terms of input and output, because you can have like huge inputs and then super small outputs, and you need to measure like the total, as you mentioned in the other case, like the total query cost. It's like how many queries you will send, how many interactions you will have, how big are these interactions, how much context you need, all these factors that are super interesting. Yeah, I think there are like a lot of, and I think it depends really on the use case. It will take us a long time to figure out like all the possible variables.
Yeah, we are still like going step by step.
Yeah. No, it's super early. I think it's a super early practice.
Yeah.
And it's still difficult because you have also the caching system that, you know, when we come from the developer side, like caching is super straightforward. You cache a query, and then if something happens or if the database is updated, then they cache a big test based on some policies. In LLMs, it's like caching is kind of sometimes magical, that you know, the eviction process is not, you know, you make an update in a database and the eviction happens. It's like, and it's a factor that really also affects the pricing of the total. If you are able to cache well with LLMs, you can reduce the pricing significantly.
Definitely. Yeah. I think with caching, it is very useful, not for all use cases like you describe, but it can be useful. Well, you save more the longer the cache.
Yeah, for sure.
The longer the time to live, so you save more. But I think like in terms of where can it work, so maybe if there is like a repetitive query at a specific time, or like, you know, internal use case. Like let's say we have like employees that talk to an HR agent, and they want to ask always the same similar questions. So this can be a good use case for caching. It is definitely something that like should be taken into account.
Yeah, that's true, and it's a good one. Okay, so now that we have, you know, selected the model and we have the criteria that we know how to select it, it's like you'll probably play this model with your own data. As you mentioned, the healthcare situation, that's one of the most frequent that we've been seeing, is that data privacy is a problem, and data access is a problem, and you know, they need to be very accurate with the data, both in the security side and on the reply side, because you will be playing with lives of people. So you need to be accurate. So what are the, you know, the things that you contemplate when you are evaluating the model for such cases where data needs to be super relevant and super accurate? Yeah,
so when we are working, definitely when we are working with very sensitive data, okay, and we know that we need like to make our agent a specialty agent for our use case, a very common practice is to do a fine-tuning. So in fine-tuning, basically, we train the data with our existing data, okay? So that eventually the model or the agent will be experts. However, there are some risks that we should take into account. And it is first, fine-tuning is a very high CPU intensive process, but sometimes we need it, but just take that into account. And second, when we are creating a new specialist, okay, new agent specialist, we might make him too specialist and like too narrow on very specific fields that he has been trained about, and perhaps our data won't be relevant and stuff like that, or will be missing. Okay, so a great way to monitor it is by checkpoints. So the fine-tuning process is not like 0 to 1. Okay, you have a lot of like steps in between. So in the different checkpoints, you can decide whether, you know, how much data is good enough, how much data is, I don't know, narrowed down too much. Yeah, and you can take each one of these versions basically of the checkpoints. Okay. Another option, but maybe this is less for sensitive data. Another option is RAG. Okay. Retrieval augmented generation. RAG.
Easier as RAG.
So this is where we basically configure, like RAG is configuring our model to external resources, external databases that we already have and work with. So it is just added on top of the model. and it doesn't narrow it down and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with both processes, and I think like I was in the AI field before it was popular, so 2018, I believe, on the image sector, and I recall the fine-tuning process was awful, and it's it's like when you talk to people that are now in the LLM side and not on they are not in the AI field, let's say they are not people that are studying the AI field, and I recall like when all the boom of the AI part was like booming. I was like, I recall from my time on AI that this was difficult as hell to train things, to fine tune things, and RAG I think it was like kind of a middle ground that was super helpful for people that are not, or for systems that are not as easy to fine tune, because fine tune, as you mentioned, is like basically it's retraining a bit the model.
I don't want to say rerunning, right?
But it's like
it doesn't like overrun, but
it's kind of similar. It's like you have the base model, and it's training the internet, and then you retrain it a bit so that it fines tuned for your specific sector, so for your specific needs. So, for example, what you mentioned about X-ray is like you will be trained on a lot of X-ray things, but you will be before the base model was training on a lot of detection images, could be X-ray, animals, etc. The problem of what you mentioned is like that requires technical knowledge, like to fine tune something. And what you mentioned with the checkpoints and everything, and I recall the optimization process of a fine tune, that's not easy. That's not setting up a pinecone database, ingest everything, and vectorize everything almost automatically that we have now. We have the privilege now to have.
So it sounds like this process doesn't only consume CPUs, but also a lot of time and
a lot of time
resource.
To prepare the data.
Yeah.
I recall, like from my time, I recall we were, you have your, let's say you have your Anthropic, your whatever model, and then you refine it in a lot of text or a lot of images that are, I don't know, YouTube thumbnails or X-rays. And you need to prepare those X-rays, you need to map it correctly, you need to have the development. Now everything is AI developed, but you need to have the development pipeline so that you can fine tune several times. As you mentioned, you have multiple versions, and you need to ingest that information to the model in a way that is easy and that you can retrain it. I recall that from my time, the less time was retraining the model and the more time was like manufacturing data properly, tag it properly with the metadata and everything, and less about the training. The training was like, leave it alone like the 8 hours of the night, and the next morning was out, especially with the power that we have now.
But the data preparation is like a project.
No.
It's like a few months project.
Yeah. It's a month project. It's the most important thing, because if you fine tune it wrong, it will either be too narrow, so it will be like a coin drop that is 50-50, and because normally it's like binary and things like that. Like you have cancer or you don't have cancer. It's like there is no other option. So it's like it needs to be very narrow. And RAG is like, for most of the cases, I think it's one of the easiest solutions and one of the evolutions about the AI for sure. So, it's a different process. I definitely encourage people to dive into the fine-tuning process and how difficult it is, because it definitely gives you a perspective about what's behind.
This is the foundation.
Yeah, what's the foundation of AI.
I agree.
And it's like only the tip of the iceberg. It's like, because it's like, and then you start here when you talk about checkpoints. I recall, having TensorFlow checkpoints, like seeing the graph with the checkpoints and everything, and that was like.
I'm sorry.
No.
For the bad memories.
Yeah, it's kind of the Vietnam, the Vietnam memories I'm having today. But it's fun. It was a fun time, and now with that, it makes you appreciate like all the work that people are doing on the AI and how it has reached all this step. Is super interesting.
I wonder how you felt when RAG was like introduced to the world.
And even for me, like I hadn't had a lot of experience like on the AI field, but my let's say I recall my bachelor's projects and my master's project was on AI. And it was like, that's it, like it's super easy now to do so. And it was like super easy to do. It's like you ingest a bunch of images and you ingest a bunch of context and it works. I was like,
well, yeah, definitely AI like changed.
No, forever. It's in 4 years, and I'm not sure how the image, but I recall it was an LLMs. It was all this generation. It was more for image,
Okay.
like the generating image generation. It was awful. But now you see like the text generation, it wasn't that good, and now you see things that it's like, and the image generation feel as well, like the improvement that we've reached with people doing ads, Coca-Cola doing ads
or you don't know what is real or not anymore.
No, for sure.
Like
you see a lot of AI. I recall the Spanish, one of the Spanish sponsors of the World Cup. The announcement is AI generated with the players in AI generated.
Really?
Yeah. It's like one guy is pulling like rows in the next to the Big Ben. The other one is like cooking with iron, like they are forging something. So it's like a chef forging things.
Okay.
So it's like AI generated for sure.
For sure, yeah.
That is like how we reached that point, but it's very.
And this is only the beginning, I think.
No, for sure. We've been like, I don't know, ChatGPT was 2022, if I'm not wrong, like the original version, not the GPT-1. So we'll see. We'll see how these AI projects evolve, and we'll see how that goes.
Where it goes.
Yeah, definitely. And moving on to this all. Let's continue with all the AI projects. So, what are the different components or the different phases that you see you need to go through in an AI project, especially in GCP? Like, because we have the budgeting, we need to have all these the other things, like you mentioned, the data and everything. So what do you think are the steps that people need to go through?
Yeah, so you mentioned budget, which is, I think, very important.
Especially for us.
Yeah, especially for FinOps and AI, very important. So a really cool feature that Google Cloud just recently launched in a Google Cloud Next event. It's called Spend Caps. And it is in the Google Cloud Billing Console under budgets. And basically, you can define a monthly threshold for your Vertex AI, Google AI Gemini, Gemini Enterprise, and Cloud Run. You can define a monthly threshold for these services. Just to avoid these huge spikes of costs if something goes out of control. And once the threshold is crossed, you're not only notified about it, it stops. It stops the model.
Like hard stop.
Yes, hard stop. It doesn't terminate what has been generated so far, so you don't lose any data. And if you want to continue generating, like for you it is totally fine that the threshold was crossed, you can disable this spend cap and continue working.
So you can continue working,
So I think this is a great monitoring tool, just to not get into those awkward situations of crazy bills and you don't understand how it happened.
Yeah, that's true. But I was thinking when you were saying it is like, do you think that will be let's say a complex or let's say a dangerous tool for production sometimes, because some people could enable it and then you can leave a customer like, I'm not replying. Even though I have to say that I was playing with a tool and probably I'm not sure if they are using that, but they could do that. You can limit the credits of someone and you have 100 credits. And then you can put a spend cap on a specific account or on a specific model.
Definitely, you can define projects, for example. So
in the project level or even in the and you can put let's say this user is gold tier, and gold tier has 1,000 credits, and 1,000 credits are whatever translated in terms of?
Yeah. Well, spend caps for now it is per project. You can define either for all the billing accounts.
Okay.
Or per project.
Per project. Okay.
And well, if you are working right, each project will be a different environment.
Yeah, it could be. No, but also it's like you can put especially in an scaling, like if you have it very well defined, you may have like a project per user, like per account. It automatically generate a project under the same organization is in GCP.
Yeah.
And then you can cap that project to like, hey, this is your spend, this is $1,000.
Exactly.
And then you can measure it to the business value, because if you cap it, it's like, hey, you reach to a limit, it will reset next month. And I've seen that already working. Well, not in the GCP, but this is a model that a lot of startups are using to cap like the spend of token maxing.
Yeah. But by the way, I don't know if you saw this as well. In the thresholds, of course, it is not only one static threshold. So it's like by percentages. So I do set a monthly threshold, let's say $1,000. But notify me when it crosses 50%.
Yeah, the budget alerts.
150% notify me.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So.
No, that's cool. I wish I always get the alert when I have like 5 credits left, and I was like.
Exactly.
I don't have like I don't know.
You had told me before.
Yeah. I have to go to the billing process, and it's like how much I really spending. And it's like, dude, I would like to have some alerts. Like at the half time, it's like if I'm spending half of my alerts, like half of my tokens at the at the very beginning, it's like I will stop, because if you tell me at the end, I won't stop. Like as a user, it's like, can you advise me more?
Exactly.
And disable alerts if I don't want to. No, but
now you bring me to the second point that I want to mention, context window.
Yeah. That's probably one of the main drivers of my expense is I always try to keep like one long chat, even though it tends to hallucinate. But yeah, go ahead.
So maybe I will ask you, do you write more? Where is most of the mess? Input or output?
I think probably input is the problem that generates the output issue, and then I don't stop, and therefore I should start a new chat so everything is clean.
Yeah.
So I don't tend to clean
and deterministic, no?
Yeah. Well, even though with AI it's more difficult, but yeah, definitely with less, when you start let's say when you are chatting too much, when you're talking too much, for example, it's like you tend to diverge and say things that you shouldn't.
It's a rabbit hole.
It's kind of the same. It's like you need to reset the conversation again.
Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think context window is definitely one of the...
It is. And I think that one of the best practices that you can implement in context window is prompt engineering.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you are more clear as possible with less tokens, you have more tokens left for the output. Okay, so prompt engineering is very important. But just to explain, like context window is all the amount of tokens that we give per session. So for both input and output.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can control the input. We can't control the output. So this is what we can.
Even though with what you mentioned is a good point. With the prompt engineering, you can model a bit the output. You can play around with it, even though it's not deterministic. It's not something like you would say this and it will do this.
Yeah.
But you can play around how much rambling. I recall at the beginning, I think it was before all these thinking phases.
Reasoning.
All this reasoning. Like before, it was like you need to make in the prompt engineering. You put a part that the model output so that it thinked, let's call it that way, so it reasoned, like it put a lot of text, and then thanks to that thinking that was basically consuming your output, it will get a better answer at the end. So you have like XML systems, especially on Claude, that you have like thinking. And it was like all the rambling thing, and then you have another XML section where it was like answer. And then you need to do like XML trimming, so regex, to get the answer from that. And then they implemented thinking, was like it didn't output that it consumed, but it didn't output the thinking.
Okay, yes, which is
better, because I recall for me doing regex for XML trimming, which I don't want to do anymore. Definitely. And other thing that I recall from this is like, and something that I haven't experimented a lot, so maybe you can help us on that, is batching. Yeah. And asynchronous. So where do you see it is more helpful? What are the use cases that you have seen? What do you think about the catching and the batching and async?
Yeah. So well, by default we work in real time with AI. We talk to him and he supplies the answers real time on real time. This is very simple. But there are use cases where we can use batch processing or asynchronous processing, which means instead of doing it right on the spot every time, okay, let's just compress everything to one batch and process it once in a day, okay? So a very common use case is invoice generation, okay? Or like in general, data that is being collected that can wait. So we are talking here about lower environments, not productions. So data that is collected that can wait, let's say invoice generation. So I'm collecting, I'm processing data of a number of customers, okay? And at night, I'm sending all this data to my agent, and over the night it will be working.
It's a batch it's like a daily process that runs every day, but you don't need real-time access.
Exactly. And what we save here is once we batch it, we like zip it. Okay, so the size is way smaller. Yes.
So you are already compressing the input, and therefore it will reduce the cost of the overall. And also you don't depend like on availability, because we have seen that there are certain windows, especially that there are sometimes outages. We come from the cloud side, so we are very used to outages, and whenever there is a disruption, it's like it could take 2 hours. I recall the AWS, the UST's one that was very.
We're talking about GCP. It happened also in GCP.
Yeah, for sure. But I have the recall from this one.
Yeah, it happens, of course.
It happens to all, and I recall that recently it was an Anthropic one, and then OpenAI has had themselves. So it's like you can, with batching especially, it won't affect your process unless it will reach out to the end. It's like it's not immediate. You can save that data for later, and then you batch it at the night time, and then you'll be able to release it. Yeah. No, I think we need to always think about this, disaster recovery that is very well known in cloud, because it's, even though I don't think it's that prone, but you need to take into account that
until it happens, until
there are certain situations where some DNS issue will happen, and then AI models won't work because of a DNS issue. For sure.
And for this you need batch processing.
No, for sure. Like it's like, we are out of GPUs or whatever, and then someone is like change a DNS process, and if you recall the Facebook issue that they had to open the lab with the key, because they need to fix it like in their router itself, because it was like a DNS issue, and it was like all the outages are DNS issues, and probably AI ones will be a DNS issue.
I love it. Eventually, you go to the metal.
The bare metal.
Yes, the bare metal.
It's like DNS setting up and name servers, and everything is about, if it fails, if it's a huge fail, it's probably a DNS. And I recall, I think the DynamoDB issue that caused the AWS failure, I think it was a DNS issue as well. And like at the very, very, very back end, it was like something related to DNS. And it's like, like servers, domain names, certificates. If anyone has configured a certificate, they know that they will fail. And certificate and all has related to DNS, which is like, we are doing all these complex things, and then everything fails in like DNS, which we think is like the most simplest thing. Is like, it's not. It needs to work. And to summarize, because we've talked about Vertex, but I know, especially because if I've used it a bit, it's like there is the enterprise level of Gemini, of course, one of the most well-known products of of Google, and everything is called Gemini. So can you briefly talk about, the Gemini enterprise side and how it interacts, how it differs from Vertex AI, some tips on that?
Yes, definitely. So Gemini Enterprise is the platform of Google Cloud where it works with Vertex AI. Okay? It connects everything that we talked about, model garden, evaluation, everything. But on top of that, you also get to work with the Google Workspace products. So all the docs, presentations, all of this. So now they even expand even more our working ecosystem. And it can really help a lot of teams in terms of productivity and stuff like that because first you have Gemini implemented in all the workspace
in everything,
everywhere. And second, you can also later, after certain configurations of RAG, you can later rely on this data when working with Google Docs, presentations, stuff like that. So it is a very powerful offering that for a company just to work in one place and all the steps are done there. And Gemini Enterprise is offered in two editions.
Yeah.
I think it's standard and the
business
plus
business something like that.
Standard and business and plus, and obviously it depends on the size of the company and the needs and stuff like that.
No, but it's a good point that you raise about that RAG, you always think about it's super complex thing with vectorized things, and then after all they simplify it so much that it's they are ingesting your Google Docs and then you can talk to it with Gemini, and that's RAG.
and we are getting to the first point that we talked about because basically AI is not only for developers. Yeah. It's for the HR team, it's for the operations team, it's for the marketing team, and they work with these docs, Excel, Google Sheets, stuff like everything. That. So
all about, RAG is that powerful because you can ingest data super easy, and you can and that's what has enabled the whole company, all the company areas, HR, sales, marketing to be able to generate things and to create things that provide value to the company. It was a very interesting thing that I got from the talks in the FinOps Weekly. It's 90% of the applications that are AI generated are not from the IT team. So that gives us the picture of how important this is for business, and why is all this token economics and all this controlling the cost, because it's hey, this is a lot of money that we are playing. Cloud is a lot of money, but AI is a lot of money because it's all the company. So a lot of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great summary of what, all the capabilities that we can do in GCP and how to actually apply some FinOps for AI there in GCP. So Vera, thanks a lot for...
Thank you very much, Victor.
Thanks for being here today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
We are now going to have some lunch.
Yes, let's go have some lunch.
So thanks everyone for listening to us, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.